Hey, family, this day I want to welcome you to my world, where guns, killing, drugs, prostitution, all those things that you know, that's where it begins in my world. Hey, after serving 7 years in prison, going through that time in my life where direction wasn't important, I want to introduce you to me. Back in the day when I was growing up, my parents was migrant workers. I don't know if you know what a migrant worker is. A migrant worker is a person that goes from state to state gathering crop. And my family gathered crop. We would stay in one town for 3 months, another town for 3 months, and we would always travel. During that process, it's very difficult to gain the foundation in school, as friends, and anything, because you always on the go. Now, you got to understand that my parents was hard workers, and it was great parents for what they are. It was great parents. Had a great family, 9 sisters, 3 boys. We loved it. Now, things changed for me when I got into the 6th grade. Now, we was in Gainesville, and I was going to school. I was in middle school, and I wanted to play football. Now, in Gainesville, we lived in this country town way back up in the woods, and it was about 20 miles to my school. So a bus would pick me up and take me to school, and the bus would bring me home. But I wanted to play football. And that means that somebody had to bring me home after football practice. I had a sister, she done it for a little bit, but she couldn't maintain it. And I asked my mom, I said, Mom, if I was in Pompano, which we had a home in Pompano, if I was in Pompano, I could play football, because our home in Pompano, I could just walk to the park. And my mom didn't necessarily like that idea, but she agreed with me, and she allowed me to go to Pompano. Now, my dad was in Pompano. I believe my mom and my dad had split a little bit, and I was young and I really didn't know. But he was living in Pompano. My mom was living in Gainesville. Now, when I went to Pompano, my dad was in the home, and he used to look out and make sure that things, was right, and let me, I ate and things like that. Kind of got through some things with him. And I don't know how long it was, but my dad moved out, and he moved into one of the apartments what he owned. And he started to dating another young lady, and he moved into one of his apartments. Nevertheless, I'm in the 6th grade, and I'm going to school, trying to figure all this stuff out. I'm going from class to class, math, English, reading, and I'm lost. I'm not well educated because I'm floating from town to town, and every class I go in, I'm lost. I'm lost in math. I'm just lost. And all of a sudden, I'm just living this life of trying to maintain and just trying to go on with the little bit of an understanding that I had. My dad moved out. My sisters, I had 2 sisters, and I don't want to call their name because they might not want to be on it, but anyway, it was Gail and Rose. They was home with me. So nevertheless, I grew up and I was just going to school in the 6th grade, and I got hanging out with the wrong, not now, I wasn't hanging out with the wrong guy. I was just young. And I got suspended from school for something stupid. And then I went back, I got to the 7th grade and the 8th grade. I know what you're saying. You saying to yourself, man, this guy here, But let me finish the story. Let me finish. Now listen. Got to the 8th grade, and I noticed something. I got perfect attendance in the 7th grade and the 8th grade. At the end of the year, I was standing on stage, and all the people that were standing on stage was people getting awards. And they called my name to get an award, and it was perfect attendance. Now, you got to understand something. When my dad moved out, things weren't quite the same. I wasn't, I didn't probably eat every meal and everything. I didn't get my clothes washed the way I should have. And I probably was going to school. My hygiene's wasn't good. And I'm in the 6th grade. I'm in the 7th grade. I'm trying to make it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make it. But nevertheless, I'm going every day, and I got perfect attendance, and I was like blown away. People looking at me like, "Wow, man, that you must be smart." Now, I wasn't smart; I was just hungry. But and then I went to high school, and I learned. I'm starting to learn about girls, and I'm starting to learn about things that I didn't know before, and I'm going and I'm doing things, and I didn't have anybody to stop me, and there was nobody to say do this or do that, and I'm just floating through school. Now I'm playing football, and I love football. I didn't have no support. I didn't have people to buy my cleats. I didn't have people to come to the games. I didn't have people to go talk to the coach for me. I didn't have anything. I'm just floating through life, just floating, just going from class to class, and did not know nothing. And I'm trying to be the best that I can be with the little bit of information that I have. Now I get into about the 11th grade, and I got perfect attendance all the way to the 11th grade. I'm getting up in the morning, I'm going to school, I'm halfway washing my clothes, and I'm just trying to fit in here, family. I'm trying to fit in. I got perfect attendance to the 11th grade. And by the time I came a senior, they started skipping school, and I started dealing with a girl. I was going from here to there, and I started to see other things, and I picked up habits of chasing women, and all kind of stuff took a different road. But anyway, I got a chance to get out of high school, and I didn't get out. I got out, but I barely got out. But nevertheless, I got a chance to get out of high school, and I played football. I didn't go to college or nothing like that at that time. I didn't go to college, and I got a job, and me and a friend of mine, we were working on a job, and at the end of the week, we go inside the office, and we're looking for the manager to give us our check. We're looking for the manager to give us our check, and he's not there. So we just like, oh, well, we just going to get our check. We young and thuggish, and we just going to get our check. So we opened the drawer, and there was a lot of checks in there. There was a lot of checks. So we grabbed 5 or 6 checks. I don't know how many it was. Could have been 10. Nevertheless, we go to the store, and it's back in the 80s. We go to the store, and I cash my check, and the guy did not ask me for no ID. Nah, I didn't know about ID or nothing. I didn't really know all that stuff. But then I told my friend, I said, listen, man, I'm gonna go back and cash one of these other checks. And I went in there and I cashed the check. He didn't ask for ID. And I said, hey man, I'm going back in there and cash another check. I took my shirt off and went in there without my shirt and I cashed the check. Then I put on a hat and I went in there and I cashed the check. And man, he was cashing these checks, and I came up with a few $1,000s, and I ended up buying a car, and man, my life was started. My life of crime began. My life of crime began. So now when I bought this car, I'm out of school, and I didn't have no money. Now I gotta hang with different people, and I saw people get money. When I saw them getting money, I was curious on how y'all get money. Now I don't have a parent to say don't do that or this, so I'm like engaging. It showed me about parlay. Now, if you don't know about parlay is when we used to go to Fort Lauderdale and buy a little slug, and we split it in half and we double our money. So if I paid $10 for it, I could make $20 on that same thing, and I'm doubling my money. So I got into that, and all of a sudden, the world opened up. It opened up. Now I'm making $800 to $1,000 a day. I'm getting up early in the morning and I'm working. See, back when I was on the farm, my parents used to get me up early. So I was accustomed to getting up early and working. So work wasn't no problem because that's what they made us do. They made us work. So I get up early and I would hit the street and I would stay on that corner and I would work. And other guys, they play around and they out there goofing around with theirs. I'm serious. I'm a businessman. I'm trying to make it. And I worked and worked and I started to make money and mess around. And I bought this car. I bought the car with the stolen checks. And when I bought that car, I was hustling. Then I got it painted and I put some 30s on it and Vogues. I tell you, family, I was rolling. I was rolling, man. I'm like, hey, man, I bought me a little chain, a gold chain. And man, I'm talking about, bro, I was rolling. And the young ladies started looking at me in a different way. I was rolling, but I'm like, oh boy, this thing finna get real nice up in here. And guess what? I started my journey. Now you got to understand, a year passed. And all of a sudden, I got a chance to go to college. You got to understand, college was not on my mind. But I stopped and I went to college. Bethune-Cookman College. Bethune-Cookman College. I'm in the dormitory with AC. Now you got to understand, in my house, we didn't have AC. In my house, there was roaches and there was rats and you go open the stove and you would see 10 rats in there, man. It was crazy in that house, man. The rats was running through the house and the roaches, man, it was crazy. But you gotta understand, that was normal for me. So when I went to college, they put me in a dorm now. Clean dorms, AC. I'm thinking to myself, boy, I done made it. I was in the AC, I had a bed, and I used to keep my room filthy because I didn't have guidance to show me what I should have been doing at home. I was in a dorm and I was messy. And I didn't know I was messy, but I was messy. And I was running around and people liked it. Me, I was kind of crazy, walking around doing stupid stuff. And I had my little car and I had that music and people liked me. And it was like, damn, I'm here, bro. I'm here. And all of a sudden, I made the football team. And you got to understand something. I was a walk-on. Made the football team. I remember this verbatim with my coach. Now, if you don't know, my coach was a Hall of Fame. His name was Larry Little. And I remember he had an offensive coordinator. And I used to work hard because I had some good work ethics. I had some good work ethics. So what happened, I was small and back then, small running backs weren't popular. But I was small. And I remember this. One day, we was getting ready to play a game or whatever the case may be. The offensive coordinator came on. He said, when I call my starting offense, I want you to go this way. And the defensive coordinator said, when I call my starting defense, you go that way. So we broke, came out, people left. And the offensive coordinator looked me in the eye. He said, they called me AK. He said, AK, what you doing? I said, bro, you told the starting offense to go that way and the starting defense to go that way. He said, let me tell you, when I call the starting offense, you go with the starting offense. Man, for the first time in my life, somebody paid attention. For the first time in my life, somebody paid attention. I was floored just to have somebody that paid attention. Well, I went on and nevertheless, I didn't get a chance to play because, as you know, by the time the grades came out, I wasn't eligible because I didn't do what I should have done in the classroom. Not because I didn't want to. I just didn't have the ability to do it. I was not smart enough. And it hurt me. So when that started, my life of crime began. Had a couple of them boys from Washington, D.C., and they put me up on the game, and they wanted to go rob somebody. I've never robbed nobody, but we go to the bank and we rob somebody at the bank. Now you got to understand, we got caught. And that was the beginning of my stay in prison. Next time, family, I want you to know something. I love you. I want you to know something in spite of what you're going through. No matter what it looks like, no matter what you've been through, you can overcome. Next time.